Our yoga instructor challenged us to find inner peace. I found it faster than anyone. After 4 seconds, I stood up and screamed, "I found Nirvana! I win!" They asked me to leave. I guess they don't respect winning. Bet365 does, though. New customers get $365 in bonus bets just for betting $10. Namaste, losers. Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Virginia. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Big nonprofit hospital systems are making billions on 340B medicine markups. Hospitals can spend on luxury perks while engaging in aggressive debt collection practices. They get rich, while patients like you pay more. Tell Congress it's time to hold hospitals accountable. Washington should fix 340B. Visit phrma.org/340B markup to learn more. Paid for by Pharma.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Welcome to the 20 Overtake, Women's T20 World Cup with Stephen Wallace. With the tournament getting underway on Friday the 12th of June and the final on Sunday the 5th of July, we're hearing from voices across the game, sharing their predictions, who they think will win the tournament and the players to look out for. Today I'm joined by Izzy Duncan, cricket commentator, writer and author of Skirting the Boundary, A History of Women's Cricket. Hello, Izzy. Welcome to the Paddock and the Pavilion and our series, The 20 Overtake, your episode 7.
Ooh, lucky number.
Are you ready for the T20 World Cup?
I'm very ready. Yeah, I'm very excited about it, with more teams in it. There's a real buzz going on around it at the moment, particularly around women's sport in general. We've all seen what the Lionesses have done at the Euros and also the Red Roses with the rugby. So there's high expectations on England, certainly. But there's some real talent arriving and some fairly unknown countries like the Netherlands, for example, who are debutantes in this tournament. And they are playing at the iconic grounds, at the premier grounds, the international grounds around the country. So they'll be expecting full crowds for the big games. I think any games that England's playing in, India's playing in, India, Pakistan playing each other is always an event in itself. And I think the sale of tickets is going well. And Beth Barrett-Wild is very upbeat at the ECB about it. And I'm looking forward to see what sort of legacy they leave behind as well, particularly England in this country, because I'm being patriotic here. I want to see, hundreds of thousands of girls playing cricket following this. But of course, we want to win, don't we? England need to win. They need that momentum to really give a bit of a defining moment, a bit of a trail blaze, and get girls playing cricket. It's really needed at the moment.
Which they did in the ODI World Cup of 2017. Did they not take advantage of that enough in 2017?
Well, that was a tricky one because 2017 was a very different landscape back then. If you think domestically, there was very little, there wasn't any professional cricket, and there wasn't much of a foundation domestically, and it's built up slowly from that moment. And they rode the wave for a while, but then it somewhat died out. But I think now, having fully professional players across the board and having the Tier 1 and the Tier 2 and the 50-over game and the T20s, it's produced this huge foundation. I think we've got, roughly speaking, 150 professional women cricketers in 2026, as opposed to, I think they only had something like 18 or 20 in 2017. So that's changed enormously, and that's really exciting. And it means we're going to see quality, and women are living and breathing cricket, and it's a full-time job. They're not having to go off and work in a bank or anything else that they were doing and coaching cricket in the meantime. They're actually training hard and producing really entertaining cricket.
Yeah, back in the 90s, where one of my guests who's been on this series, Catherine Leng, she worked for a bank and was then playing
Ah,
cricket. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And of course, you can never reach the stratosphere that you want if you're not playing full time. And that's why women were always judged harshly through the decades as to, oh, women can't play cricket, oh, they've got a handbag throw, whatever it was that came out of men's mouths most of the time, is because there was no investment. There wasn't enough interest. There was no exposure. But this is all changing hugely. And we can talk about the IPL later as well, because that's very much a trigger to give commercial value to women's cricket. And that's been enormously helpful globally to women's cricket.
We can mention that when we talk about India. But taking you back, can you remember the first women's T20 World Cup back in 2009, which England won?
Yeah, that was a great year for England, wasn't it? And we can hark back to that a long time ago, but they did the double whammy and won both, didn't they? The ODI World Cup and the T20 World Cup. So it was a really big year for them. And then we had that final against New Zealand at Lords, which wasn't much of a final. It wasn't very competitive because I think New Zealand were bowled out something like 85. But Catherine Brunt picked up wickets 3 for 6 for her. So it was exciting. And England carried that momentum forward a fair bit. But of course, they weren't professional at all at that point. I mean, there was a bit of part-time professionalism, but it wasn't until 2014 that they had England contracts. So nobody was under contract in 2009. So again, a very different looking England side. So it's difficult to compare. It's a real stark contrast.
What's interesting when I did my research was that semi-finals were at Trent Bridge and the Oval, and the final on the 21st of June was at Lords. But all the other group games and involving the 8 teams in the tournament, they were all played at Taunton. Shows how things have changed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you just think about what was the budget. Keep them all in one place, and there was very little investment, very little exposure. Taunton being a smaller ground as well, because they probably weren't expecting quite the crowds. But at least they got Lords for the final because they deserved it. I mean, it was a great World Cup, and England will be looking to history now and thinking, they tend to win their World Cups at home. We know that. History dictates 2017 as well. So there'll be pressure on them around women's sport that they do perform and are victorious.
12 teams in this year's World Cup. Do you like the format of 2 groups? Are there not enough teams? There's going to be 16 in 2030.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously need the quality, don't you, as well? So teams have got to reach a certain standard in order to play, and that's what the qualifying rounds are about. And you want all of these teams. I mean, there are 12 playing in this current World Cup. So there's only 2 more from the 2024 version. But even so, it means they get more cricket. So you're going to get, 30 matches instead of 20 in the group stages. And there's also a bit more money involved. I think the pool for the prize money has increased by about 10%, but then I suppose it's spread more thinly as well with more teams. But I mean, commercially, again, it's down to the IPL, isn't it? Giving it more exposure and giving women far more value in cricket. But it's interesting, and I think, sides like the Netherlands, Scotland, Ireland, for them, it's opened up a whole gate, really, of being able to play cricket and possibly get into the semi-finals, get into those final rounds of cricket, particularly in Group B, looks wide open to me. You've got Scotland and Ireland in that pool, and it could be interesting for them. Netherlands in Group A may struggle a bit, so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see, but we'll see what the newcomers do, particularly the Netherlands.
You think going forward, though, there needs to be more opportunities for more teams to play in a women's T20 World Cup? Sue Strachan from Scotland, a former manager of Scotland, she was remarking that, like in the Changing Sports, the Men's Football World Cup, there's 48 teams in that.
Wow. Yeah. Yes, and we have to build up to it, don't we? This is the thing of maintaining standards and quality and professionalism globally. It's Australia very much ahead of the game. India only really just joining the party, and England have been professional now for 12 years. So that is all still in its infancy. So you want other countries to follow suit. South Africa are doing that, but I know that there have been troubles there sort of politically and financially. But so it's not very balanced around the world. But ideally, that is what we want, and we want the ICC to be able to. They certainly got the money to disperse the money fairly amongst the associate nations, of course, as well, so that they can make it to be full member nations of the ICC and play in these tournaments. It's really important for cricket because you don't just want the big guns out there. It gets a bit monotonous, and you've got to have competitiveness to make it entertaining as well. And it would be great if a side in this tournament upsets the apple cart at some point. Let's say Scotland beats India or Australia or whatever it is. It will be very exciting, and it'll be momentous for that country to be able to do that.
Because extra funding brings better facilities and more. Going to improve the playing pool of all these nations. If not, it just seems to concentrate on the big three in England, Australia, and India.
That's right. We want to definitely bridge that gap between those countries, and that will come from the ICC, and the funding, the investment. And I don't know the details of that because I don't work for the ICC or the ECB, but there's definitely disparity. We've seen it, and we'll talk about, even Afghanistan. We'll talk about them later. There's a fund for them that it's not enough, and we don't know the future for that country. So other countries joining in, it's a sort of unknown at the moment. I'd like to know what the plans are globally. And there have been companies or organisations like Fair Break, for example, that really opened it up to associate nations to play together with full member nations and get that experience and that exposure, and that worked very well. They've had a couple of tournaments in the last few years. And then off the back of that, you'll find that players will get contracts. People like Ster Callis, for example, who is the only professional player for Holland, will get contracts all over the world based on the fact that they've been seen. They're playing on a platform. But I think the ICC needs to do far more with those nations, and more the minnow nations, the associates, the affiliates, to give them half a chance of being noticed, and actually having that experience of playing under lights with a crowd, TV cameras. That's huge pressure, and it's a very different way of playing cricket as well. Can you handle it? It's very telling. So we'll wait and see.
On the subject of Afghanistan briefly, we've seen how well their men's team have done. I mean, they've reached semi-finals in the T20 World Cup. I know you've been involved on that subject, like I have as well, on this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, there's been fairly recent announcements in the last few months where the ICC are working together with the ECB, Cricket Australia, the BCCI, the MCC Foundation, also the charity Pitch Our Future, which is based in Australia, run by Mel Jones and Emma Staples. And they're doing a fantastic job in campaigning, particularly the charities, in campaigning for the Afghan women who still are labelled as a refugee team. Which they're obviously not happy with, particularly when you look at FIFA and what they've done for the Afghan women's football team. They're now recognised as a fully international side. That status, they can play international games, whereas the Afghan women can't. And of course, there's the obvious unfairness of the men, of course, the Afghan men playing as a full member nation of the ICC, but not having a fully functioning, or they have zero functioning women playing in their country. There's nothing domestically happening. I mean, women have no rights at all. They're basically locked away. But the men are still playing, so that's controversial. But nothing's changing on that front, and we don't know what the future is for the Afghan women. There's a fund in place for a year for them to tour. They were in India. They're coming to England. In June, there's an announcement recently via the ECB and BBC. They will come, but they're not playing any international matches because they're still considered a refugee team in the eyes of the ICC. So it will be interesting to see what they get up to. But they will play matches, and they'll come to the final of the women's T20 World Cup at Lords. So they'll do that, and there'll be some exposure around them. But we want to see what happens in the future, because they are the voice for women. They are the voice for women in Afghanistan. The women and girls in Afghanistan who are suffering, who have, their human rights have been hugely violated. They can't even have an education. They're not allowed to sing. They can't talk to animals. I mean, the whole thing is absurd. But when you have a football team out there or a women's cricket team who are playing, that just gives hope. And hope is all they have at the moment back in Afghanistan. And these girls have a big voice, these cricket players. They're articulate, they're intelligent, they have a story, and they want their story to be broadcasted. They want people to know about them.
Well, thanks for bringing that again to our listeners' attention. You're listening to the Paddock and the Pavilion series, The 20 Over Take. Stay tuned throughout the series as we build up to the ICC Women's T20 World Cup. Each episode is available on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and on our YouTube channel. Let's return to my chat with Izzy Duncan and get her thoughts on the tournament, including her predictions, players to watch, and hopes for the World Cup. Let's go ahead to look at the two groups. Group A, one of the powerhouse teams, India, Australia, and South Africa. One of them is going to go home after the group stages.
They are. I mean, Australia's quite interesting at the moment. I mean, for once, they don't have any silverware in their cabinet. They've always been very greedy, as we know, in the past. They've got an awful lot of trophies in their cabinet. But it makes it more interesting. It makes Group A more interesting. Are they in a team in decline or are they a team in transition? They're probably more a team in transition. But they have plenty of talented youth coming through because they have a very well-established domestic setup. If you look at some of that youth, I mean, Phoebe Litchfield falls into that category, and she's pretty phenomenal. Georgieville, and then there's that left arm quick.
Lucy Hamilton
as well. So they're interesting. And you've got the seasoned players of Ash Gardner, Elise Perry, and Beth Mooney, who are in there. So they have, of course, they have the talent and they have the hunger as well, because they don't like to lose. And it may be they've got their house in order now. They come to this tournament all fired up, and I'm sure they will because they are Australia. They have a new captain in Sophie Molyneux. Have I pronounced that correctly? Sophie Molyneux. It's a big test for them, this tournament, with a newish team. So we'll see.
A lot of their players have all played in the 100, so they're used to playing in England, aren't they?
You're right. Yeah. And having that experience on the facilities here, because we know it's very different to Australia. I mean, they've got the Kookaburra ball, hard pitches. We've got the swinging dukes. Actually, I don't know what ball they're playing with, and it'd be interesting to know in the tournament with the white ball. But the other big team, as you mentioned, India, in that side. I mean, they'll be brimming with confidence. Expectations are high for them because they just won the Women's World Cup in India on their home soil. They'll be chasing a maiden T20 World Cup trophy. They've never won it before. They've shown a few flaws in their T20 play, I would say. Sort of unimpressive power play with the bat, and they don't always have that bite with the ball towards the end, and the end power play as well. So we'll see if they worked on that. I'm sure they have. But they're star-studded, as we know. And
they just lost to South Africa 4-1, didn't they, in April?
Yeah. So South Africa have really come good, and that's really good for them because they're somewhat underinvested as well. I mean, they had that 5-match series, and Laura Woolvard was sensational. She averaging in the 80s, scored oodles of runs. So she'll be a real danger. I think she's number 3 in the T20 international batting ranking. So she's real class. And they've still got Marizanne Kapp in that South African side as well. And Shabnim Ismail, the pocket rocket, she has reversed her retirement and is going to play in this tournament. I mean, thank goodness, because she's entertaining, and there's always fireworks when she's playing. And Nadine de Klerk too. So they're ones to look out for. It's not all about Australia and India. I think South Africa there have a good chance, especially coming off the back of that dominant home series against India. I think that'll be interesting.
What do you think to the chances of the other teams in that group, Pakistan, the Netherlands making their debut, and Bangladesh?
Yeah, I mean, the Netherlands, of course, making their debut. I've talked about Stair Callis before. I think it's helpful with Stair Callis that she plays in Tier 1 here in England for Yorkshire, because they're going to be playing India at Headingley. So she's going to have a bit of a head start, knows the pitch, knows the facilities well, and they're going to need all the help they can get against India. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And then they've got Babette Delide, who is the skipper, and they're both fair break players, so they've come through that system too, and have played quite a bit of international cricket at a high level. So we'll see what happens. So the Netherlands, Pakistan, another one. They look a bit undercooked. They haven't necessarily had too many victories recently. They do, according to statistics, have the best bowler in the world, number one bowler in the world, in Sadia Iqbal, who's another slow left arm. Slow left arm's very in vogue and seems to pick up a lot of wickets in T20 cricket. And then they've got Fatima Sana too, their skipper, who again is a fair breaker, and she's pretty overworked, I would say, and there's a lot on her shoulders. There's a lot of pressure on her to come up with the goods. The rest of the team need to step up for Pakistan, I think, to get anywhere in this. Who else is there? There's Bangladesh, isn't there?
And in the qualifying, Bangladesh won all 7 of their matches in the global qualifier. Obviously, the conditions are going to be different, England to Nepal.
You're right. They might struggle a bit in English conditions, and their game is very honed to Asian conditions, isn't it? But they do have a strong spin pedigree, and they do pick up a lot of wickets with their spin attack. We're not going to see the seamer, apparently, Jahanara Alam, who I've come across a bit in women's cricket, but they do have a decent captain in Nijar Sultana, who is pretty much their standout batter. So we'll see what they can do, and they've got a lot of momentum running with them, as you say. They've come off the back of a lot of victories, so they'll certainly be fired up. I think I've covered everybody now in that group. In Group A,
we'll come to your prediction later. Let's go to Group B: England, New Zealand, West Indies, Sri Lanka, Scotland, and Ireland.
Yeah, I like the look of this group. Again, this is the group for me that's wide open. So a side like the West Indies, who are quite volatile, there's a pathway for them here to get into the semi-final. Because whenever you look at the West Indies and how they play, a lot of it falls on the responsibility of individuals. I mean, Hayley Matthews, Shemaine Campbell, Deandra Dottin, Stefani Taylor. They're all huge, big guns and hit the ball hard and all rounders. But often they don't step up and it all falls to pieces. But I think in this group, they've got a much better chance, the Windies, of getting into those semis. That'll be interesting. And Sri Lanka, another side who haven't performed well in T20s in World Cups before. I think they had a winless T20 World Cup group stage back in the 2024 edition. Now their captain, we know all about their captain, Chamari Asapatu, who is a phenomenal player, but she didn't come good in that last. I think she only got something like 45 runs in that last T20 World Cup in 2024. So she really has to step up, and there's a lot of pressure on her to perform and bring the team with her. I mean, they're playing in that opener, I think, on the 12th of June, aren't they, against
at Edgbaston, yeah.
Yeah, at Edgbaston, that's right. They'll be hoping to catch England on the hop there a bit. Scotland's almost my favourite team, I think, because they're full of players from the Blaze, so that the poor old Blaze will be missing them.
Got Kirsty Gordon, the Bryces, right. yeah.
The Bryce sisters, we love the Bryce sisters. You know, they've got plenty of northern grit from Scotland. They can play in all conditions. And very talented. You know, I like the look of that team, and they've been playing really well. And again, they're underinvested up in Scotland, and if they can work miracles with that talent, that'll be really exciting to see. Who else have we got?
What will be exciting is when England plays Scotland on the 20th of June at Headingley. That's going to be a big game for both nations, though, at Headingley.
That'll be really exciting. Yeah, that'll be really exciting at Headingley. We hope for a big crowd there as well, with England and Scotland, almost like a sort of local derby, England-Scotland. So Ireland are another side who have a few players playing in Tier 1 domestically who are professionals. So all of these teams now, these international sides like Ireland, Scotland, the Netherlands, have so much better teams because they are playing at a very high level domestically, which of course helps their national team. I've seen a bit of Orla Prendergast. I think she's also the Blaze, Orla Prendergast, and she's a super. Well, I think she stepped in for Gabby Lewis, who was injured. And I saw her play a couple of times. I thought she was pretty phenomenal with the bat and bowls a bit as well. So she's very much key to their hopes, the Irish women. Gabby Lewis has had a leg injury, and I think she'll be a little bit undercooked as well because she's been rested for that home tri-series that they're playing. I think it's around Dublin against Pakistan and the West Indies. So she'll come in a bit cold from that, but we know that she's talented. And they haven't won a game in any T20 International World Cups. So they'll be looking to break their duck, I think, Ireland. But they've got a good chance of that.
I'm pretty sure Ireland's first game, which is Scotland's first game, they're playing against each other. So the winner of that game is...
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
What about the holders, New Zealand?
Oh, yeah. Defending champions, yeah. I mean, they're bringing 10 of their squad played in the last tournament in the 2024 of the 15. So there's 15 in the squad, but they do have a new skipper, Amelia Kerr. She's at the helm, so there are some changes. She was player of the tournament in 2024, so highly talented. There are plenty of fresh faces and new blood in the side, but of course you've got the seasoned pros in there. Susie Bates, there's household names of Susie Bates, Sophie Devine and Leah Tahuhu, who I think all three of them are looking to retire, go out with a bang. So they've got a lot to prove, and they want to go out in a blaze of glory. But I don't think the odds are really for New Zealand to win. But then they weren't for New Zealand to win in 2024. So they could be a surprise win again.
What have you made of them in this series between England and New Zealand? England just winning 2-1 only a few days ago.
Yeah, I mean, they fought back well, but they don't look as strong as England, which of course is great for England to feel that. But they've got close, and they've got some. We know they've got decent players, and they're letting some of their younger players play in those series to give them a bit of experience, and a great experience to play that series, of course, on English soil before this T20 World Cup. I mean, that will give them confidence anyway, having played here before the T20 World Cup. And I know India's next against England in another series. So there's plenty of warm-ups going on out there.
There certainly are, because Scotland are also playing Bangladesh and the Netherlands up in Scotland. I think as we speak, I think they're starting today, I think.
Well, hopefully they'll get good weather. If the weather's anything like it is down here in the midst of a heat wave, I pray that Scotland has good weather so they can get those games underway and get some experience.
What about England, the host nation? Are they under extra pressure being at home?
Yeah, they're definitely under extra pressure. They've had a torrid time of it in the last 18 months or so. I mean, that history is well documented of England losing to Australia in Australia and then beaten at home by India, of course, and then out in the World Cup in India. And I was there actually in India, being beaten by South Africa in that semi-final. So they've got a lot to prove. And of course, they've now got New Zealand under their belt, which will help them confidence-wise. And apparently they've had a weekend with the British Army as well, a bit of a boot camp going on, and whether or not that's going to toughen them up a bit. I remember England doing that, the England men under Andy Flower, didn't they? They went off to Germany.
They did, yeah. And that's when somebody got injured doing that, I think, as well. Yeah.
Probably did, yeah. Probably somebody dropped a tree trunk on their foot or something like that. But I think the England women are looking pretty fit and lots of training going on. It was interesting, the squad that was picked by Charlotte Edwards. She's gone with the old guard mainly, well, apart from Tilly Courtine-Coleman, who's had a lot of press, but there were no new faces apart from Tilly, the 18-year-old, the left-arm spinner. So she stuck with her group. We've got Eccleston left-arm spin. We've got Lindsay Smith left-arm spin. So we've got plenty of spinners there. Charlie Dean with her off breaks. And I think spin will feature heavily in this World Cup. And it'd be great to see Courtine-Coleman out there. She went for a lot of money in the 100 auction. She's been performing well. She has been for Southern Brave. But I think particularly they were looking for all-rounders, weren't they? Because Nat Siver-Brunt, I think, has been bearing the brunt of everything to do with England in the last few months. And some of the pressure needs to be taken away from her so she can play more freely, particularly being the captain as well. There's a lot of pressure on her. And I'm really excited to see Danny Gibson, who crucially has been really consistent recently, the way that she plays. And she went for that hefty 190,000, I think it was Sunrisers Leeds, wasn't it, in the auction. And she's really exciting, and she'll bolster that middle order. You've got Heather Knight and Siva Brunt. And you've also got Freya Kemp, who's left-handed, because you do need that point of difference as well in teams. And they haven't been that heavy on left-handers, England, in terms of the sort of batting. So they're a great addition. I was pleased to see them. And they're a resurgence, really, because they have played for England before. Other players there's a resurrection of Izzy Wong, who looks to be on song. She's quick. She's very good in the death overs. And I think she's probably picked because of her death-skilled bowling. But interestingly, those who missed the cut in England, we've seen quite a lot of, or heard a lot about Davina Perrin, who's another teenager, and we were half expecting her to be in the squad. I think she went out for that training camp in South Africa. They had the internal training camps out there and performed well. She plays for Warwickshire. She was the star of the 2025 100, scored big, very exciting prospect. She probably just missed the cut. I think there's very tricky decisions to be made by Charlotte Edwards. And Tammy Beaumont is the other obvious omission. Maybe her age goes against her, and perhaps not being in so much form of late, but she scored more than 7,000 international runs. She was player of the tournament back in 2017 in that ODI World Cup. So an interesting array of players. There's plenty of talent there, but will they gel? And are they sort of relaxed enough almost to not feel that pressure of a home World Cup? We'll see. But Alice Capsey, Sophia Dunkley, Danny Wyatt-Hodges, all big names, and they retain their spots as well. So they're certainly capable of it.
How worried are you about the fitness of Nat Siva Brunt? Are they just being extra careful?
I'm sure they're being extra careful. And she's one of those players who is so brilliant that you almost expect her just to come. I know she's going to feel a bit cold coming into this, having not played that much over the winter either. And then she played a little bit domestically for her side here in England, but probably not enough. She won't be happy with the amount of match play that she's had, or lack of match play, but it can't be helped with injuries. And I think resting her is the right thing to do, because the World Cup is the most, it's the pinnacle, isn't it? And she needs to be fit. She's the skipper. So we'll see, but she's certainly talented enough and psychologically strong enough to be able to come back and perform, and hopefully rested and restored. I know she's got a kid back at home, so I hope she isn't too tired out by sleepless nights. But yeah, I mean, she's an absolute star player.
Winning captain in 2009, how crucial is the current England coach, Charlotte Edwards?
Well, I mean, highly respected, an awful lot of experience in the coaching camp, and she left enough time from leaving playing for England to actually coaching England. There's a few years in between, otherwise you're too close to it and too emotionally invested, really. But she's taken a tougher stance, which she needed to, because something needed to be done after the last year and a half of really a lack of performance from England. And she's someone who knows how to win. 2009 being her big year, and she will inject all sorts of confidence into them, and she will not take any prisoners. If people aren't performing, they will be dropped. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned player or not. She's going to absolutely make sure she's got the best team out there. But she has some very difficult decisions to make with that squad of only 15. And it's a luxury, because there's so much talent out there in the England ranks at the moment.
Who do you think will be in that first 11 on Friday, the 12th of June?
Yeah, that's okay. Well, I think Danny Gibson is a dead cert. I'll probably be eating my words by the time we get there. Nat Siva Brunt, of course, as long as she's fit. We're assuming she's fit. In terms of spin, they've got all these left-arm spinners. You can't pick 3 left-arm spinners in the side. So do you go with Eccleston? You probably do, if she's fit, and she is. She's been playing, and you could also have Lindsay Smith or Courtine Coleman in that side. I've lost count now. Charlie Dean will play because she's the vice captain, and she bats as well. So Heather Knight, you're looking at. Let's look at the middle order. Heather Knight, Freya Kemp. It may be a decision between Freya Kemp and Danny Gibson, but I think Danny Gibson may win that fight. In terms of sort of seam bowling, who's been performing recently? We've got Lauren Bell, we've got Lauren Filer, Izzy Wong, Danny Wyatt-Hodges. Well, she's not a seam bowler, but you've got Siva Brunt as well in there. I don't know. I mean, Lauren Bell for height, possibly. Izzy Wong for the death skills as well. And then up top, you've got people like Sophia Dunkley, haven't you? And you've got Alice Capsey up there as well, and Danny Wyatt-Hodges. So between the three of them, they won't necessarily pick all three of those up top. So out of the 15, it's difficult to say. I'm sorry, I've given you rather a jumble there, but
we've probably had all 15 there. But
I think we've had all 15. But in terms of,
but they probably need them in the whole. When you're going to play 5 group matches, a semi-final and final, do you think that the squad will be important? That you will be rotating a little bit?
I think you'll probably have to rotate a little bit. I mean, there'll be niggles as well and injuries and things. And if people are performing well, keep them in the side, keep the momentum going, especially if new faces. If Tilly gets a game, Tilly Courtine Coleman gets a game and she plays well, put her in the next game. Keep that going. But I think some players will need to be rested, possibly, particularly if they have had injuries and things. But on the whole, stick with what works. And we'll see what happens on day one at Edgbaston against Sri Lanka, which obviously won't be the biggest fight for England, but you can never make assumptions here. And, they want to probably put their best side out to get off to a good start. It's all about impetus, isn't it, and momentum in a tournament like this.
You have one new message. Translating. Disney and Pixar's Hoppers is now available on Disney+.
You could say that again.
Critics are calling it Pixar's funniest movie ever and a wildly entertaining ride. Blizzard Potato. It's certified fresh and verified hot.
Now we party.
This is incredible!
Wow, I am clearing the rest of the day.
Disney and Pixar's Hoppers, now available on Disney+. Rated PG.
It's time for you to make some predictions now. My first one is, which player do you think will score the most runs in the whole World Cup?
Yeah, the most runs. I did a little bit of research on this. That's a really tricky one, of course. But I like the look of India's Smriti Mandhana. We know that recently, in the last few months, she's scored an awful lot of runs. She's right up there on the sort of ICC rankings. I think she's only second to Wolfhard, and she's in form. And I think she's got the right mentality. She's confident. I think she'll be exciting for India. Very much a game changer as well. So I'm looking forward to see her score runs. So that's my prediction on the runs front.
She's a lovely player to watch. I saw her get a century against England in a T20 at Trent Bridge last year.
Ah, you were there live, were you?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Lucky you.
And the most wickets in the tournament?
Most wickets, I've gone, predictably and boringly, I've gone for Sophie Eccleston because she's playing at home and because she's got a great temperament. She'll love the fact the crowd's behind her. She'll step up to the big occasions because she's done it so many times before under the lights. She'll love the English soil, the English crowd. So I would go with her. She's a number one. I mean, I'd put her as the number one spinner in the world, not necessarily in the rankings at the moment, but she's right up there, and I think she'll pick up oodles of wickets.
A young player to look out for during the tournament?
Again, I'm being patriotic here, and I'd like to see Tilly Courtine Coleman get a game. She's very fresh and excited by the whole thing. Has shown a lot of promise. And we know how good she's been in the 100, and she's gone for a lot of money. And just to give her that chance to be able to perform at the top level internationally and make her debut, I think she's really hungry for it. And I'm excited to see her out there in the middle.
Now, the highest team score in a Women's T20 World Cup is 213 by England against Pakistan in 2023. Do you think that will be beaten?
I think there's a very good chance that could be beaten. I mean, it has in bilaterals been beaten many times. We know that from looking at statistics. But again, what's the weather going to be like in June and July? I mean, a lot of it will depend on will we have a lot of sunshine and hard pitches and the ball coming onto the bat and high scores. But assuming that happens, I think they'll go beyond. I mean, 250 is exceedingly achievable for a lot of these sides, high scoring sides, Australia, India, England, South Africa, New Zealand. I think they're all capable of getting these big scores under the right conditions.
Now, the highest score individually is 126 by Meg Lanning against Ireland in 2014. Is that going to be beaten?
Again, anything's possible. I mean, I know I harked on about Laura Wolfhart before. I just think with her, she's so in form coming off the back of that series that you mentioned at home, South Africa against India, scoring all those runs. She's so confident. She's such a classy player. She plays so correctly. You know, she plays a lot of classic shots as well, which we like to see. We almost feel like classic shots are dying out of cricket with all the T20 madness. But she'll be there looking classy, and I think scoring runs, and I think she'll want a big score under her belt. She's been scoring big in South Africa recently, and I would put my money on Laura Wolfhart going big.
So she's going to beat this 126, you think?
Well, yeah, if I had to put money on it, she would be my player.
Right, now for the difficult ones, the 4 semi-finalists.
I know, I'm a bit boring, aren't I? Because I'm afraid I'm going for the big guns with this. I know we're all looking for a team to upset the apple cart, but you know, of course that's possible. But if I was going to put my life on it, England, India, one semi, Australia, New Zealand in the other.
So you think South Africa's going to get knocked out then? Yeah.
I am afraid I'm knocking out South Africa by the time we get to the semi. Yeah. And do you want the finals?
Oh yeah, the finalists and the winners as well. Yeah, please.
Finals and the winners. So the finals, I'm being predictable here. India, Australia, because they are above in the pecking order. They just are. Have been over the last few months. They're above England and New Zealand and South Africa. And my winner, am I allowed to jump to the winner now?
Yeah, so your final is Australia and India.
Yeah. Yes, that's my final.
You don't think England are quite there yet under Charlotte Edwards? Is that coming, you think?
I mean, yes, they're capable. But again, I think there's still quite a lot of work to do with England. There's been a lot of changes, and we'll see. You know, the confidence has been low over the last 18 months for England. And, I'm not being disloyal here. I'm just being realistic. And I think in terms of actually winning the tournament, I think Australia is so hungry for it and so competitive and have so much fire in their belly. As long as their youngsters come good, because they are a side in transition, not in decline, I don't think. I think they'll come good, and they've certainly got all of their seasoned players who will be blasting the ball around. And for a side that's so competitive and haven't won the last 2 World Cups, whether it be T20 or ODIs, they will be absolutely wanting it so badly. I put them down as my winners. So I'm being predictable here.
And hopefully you will be at the final at Lord's on Sunday, the 5th of July.
I will. Being an MCC member, I'm taking advantage of my membership. I'll try to go to all of the games. I think there are 3, aren't there, including the final at Lord's.
Yeah, England are playing the West Indies at Lord's on the 24th of June, and then there's a double header as well at Lord's where Australia are playing India.
There is a double header, so there are 4 matches over 3 days.
That's right.
So if I'm not working, and I'm definitely there for the final, if I'm not working on the other days, I will be there in a shot to watch this and take a lot of friends as well. A lot of kids I want to take along to enjoy it. It's going to be a real spectacle.
And my final question, which I've asked every guest, what's your one hope for the tournament?
Well, emotionally, of course, my hope is for England to win, because I care about cricket, female cricket in this country, and I want that momentum to be carried through. I want England to absolutely go out of this tournament in a sort of blaze of glory and inspire young girls throughout the country to play cricket. Let's have 500,000 girls playing cricket in England, and that's what the ECB want. And it's really important to have that. And I think, that's what victory does, doesn't it? We've seen it with the Lionesses, we've seen it with the Red Roses. And conversations start, you'll notice it's massive exposure. And we've got things like the Knight-Stokes Cup coming up, which is a state school tournament. And I think that will give that tournament massive impetus if the England women win, because that tournament is for state school kids and it's 50-50, 50% girls, 50% boys. So those sorts of things are really important. And of course, emotionally, I'm totally invested in England. I want England to win 100%. And that is my hope.
Well, we've always done well in home World Cups, as you said earlier.
We have, yeah. We're great on our own soil, and long may it continue. And they've got a very good chance, England, of winning it, despite me predicting Australia.
Well, thank you very much for being on our series, The 20 Overtake, Part 7.
Thank you, Stephen. It's been a pleasure.
That was The 20 Overtake, Women's T20 World Cup. Thanks to today's guests for their predictions, and we'll be back with more voices from across the game as we build up to the tournament.